kind of talking about the whole Shakur thing, at least from your standpoint, and not trying to belittle him or anything like that. He's obviously a great fighter, but do you kind of look at, okay, PBC wanted him at least, maybe for like one fight or whatever, and then he goes to sign with Matchroom for, a couple fights. Does a part of you kind of say, okay, maybe Matchroom is willing to give you a multi-fight deal, but like most of the boxing world, we kind of look at Eddie Hearn, and I mean, I personally think he's a great promoter, but at 135, who do you really got? So do you kind of look at it and say, yeah, you're probably making more money with Eddie Hearn, but he's not really moving the needle for you?
Yeah, look, that's, if you look back at sort of the strategy of both Showtime and PBC over the last decade, a lot of it was centered not around fighters, but around divisions. And it's a little chicken and the egg. I mean, certainly part of the strategy was around Mayweather. Okay, fine. And there was around Wilder. But there was also putting bets on certain divisions. 126, 147, 154. So it's sort of like, okay, there's a lot of makeable fights there. So if you've got me as a promoter, just personally, if you've got one super talented guy in the division without a whole lot of guys to fight, that guy wouldn't be top of my list to sign, because it's going to be tough to do business for him, and it's tough for me to do right by him because there's just not a lot in there. If someone else sees it differently and think that they can blow him up without a whole lot of quality opponents, like, more power to you. You should go with that guy. But if I look at a division that looks kind of thin, I'm probably not going to invest a lot of money in a guy if I can't really see a lot of activity happening in that division.
Is it fair criticism from not everybody, but a lot of people that say that Tank is a quote-unquote 30-year-old prospect, really great fighter, pound-for-pound list-level guy, but most would say he doesn't have that career-defining win, like Shakur or Lomachenko. I know you can say Lomachenko pulled out. People wanted him to fight him like 5 years ago. There's other guys like Teofimo. He did fight Ryan. People are going to say he drained him. Like, is it fair to just throw all of that criticism at a guy like Tank, or is it just like, it's not always his fault for those matchups?
Some of it's fair, some of it's not. Look, the reality is, I think people discounted the Pedraza win, but in retrospect and seeing what Pedraza has done since, I think that win deserves a lot more credit than he got at the time. I think that Ryan Garcia, going in, everyone said that this is going to be it, and then a lot of people discounted it, rightly or wrongly, and said he was weight drained or his ribs were hurt or whatever it was. So is that fair? I don't know. Like, no one will ever really know what was going on with Ryan that night, and whether there's a hurt rib or weight drained or whatever it was. But I think at the end of the day, let's have this criticism when he's done with his career. Because if he the next three fights are, Shakur, Ryan Garcia rematch, and
Teofimo,
I don't know,
maybe?
Teofimo, then we're not having this conversation anymore.
Yeah.
And he comes through with impressiveness. But the one thing I'll say is this, is if you are quote unquote, if you're not fighting quote unquote the best competition, and I don't accept that, but if the criticism is, okay, he's not fighting the best competition, then if you really believe you're that much better, then you handle your business. Okay, where I'm going with that is, you see a lot of guys who are taking, admittedly, second or third tier fights, and they're getting sort of struggling to a 12-round decision. Say what you want about Tank, 9 times out of 10, it's a decisive finish. It's a statement. He's not playing around with these guys. I'm not saying it happens every time, but the vast majority of the times, he finishes decisively. So, if you thought it was on his level, like, he's saying, no, he's not. So at the end of it, to me, you get credit for doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I would accept the criticism more if you're fighting guys who maybe people think aren't on your level, and you go 12 rounds with them, and it's sort of a 7-5 decision. That's not what's happening. Tank's making a statement every time out, and that's why people continue to see him.
So